Tell me, how was your life as a youngster?
Ruthless, my style is a juvenile. Ran with a gang, slanged in the meanwhile banking. I specialize in ganking white Mexican brothers and others daily. It's all about coming up, making sure no punk.
If you've been studying for hours but feel like you're forgetting everything immediately after, I have a solution for you. In the 1800s, a German psychologist, Hermann Ebbinghaus, showed that we forget 50% of everything we learn within the first hour. He called it the forgetting curve. Later studies showed that if you space out the information you're learning, you will remember more details and forget things slower. So use the following formula for some memory magic. At the end of the study session, spend 5 minutes reviewing what you had just learned. Do it again after a short break. Do it again at the end of the day. And the next morning after you learned. Review the material a week later. And then review every couple of weeks until it sticks permanently.
You are Elastigirl! My God, pull yourself together!
Hacks for School, Part 3. So in math, I've always had trouble with the unit circle. But then my teacher showed me the circle hand trick that made everything so much easier. Okay, so take your left hand and assign a degree for each finger. So 90 for thumb, then 60, 45, 30, and then 0. Now let's say you want to figure out the values for 45 degrees. Fold that finger, and the fingers above that folded finger are for cosine, and the fingers below correlate to sine. So for cosine, take the 2 fingers here, so 2, and plug that 2 in here, so cosine of 45 will be radical 2 over 2. Then if you want to figure out sine, take the 2 fingers below, plug 2 in here to get radical 2 over 2 for sine of 45 degrees. This works the same for the other values here, including the thumb and the pinky.
Okay, so a lot of you have been asking me to make a series about how to stop procrastinating. This is part 1, and I want you to remember that procrastination is a habit that you have to work really hard to kick. Just watching this video won't be enough to cure procrastination. You have to commit these tips to memory, save this video in case you forget, and keep on putting them into practice until it comes naturally. So my first tip is to look at the bigger picture. If you lack motivation, looking at the bigger picture will help you stay goal-oriented. Now, if you follow me, I'm going to assume that you have a dream college you want to go to, some school that you want to get into and shock everyone at your school, shock your town, and make your parents proud. Now say you have a big English paper due a week from now, and it's worth a huge percentage of your final semester grade. Look at it this way, if you wait until the last minute, there's no way you're going to be able to do your best work. And the grade on this paper may seem trivial now, but it counts towards your semester grade, which counts towards your GPA. And when it comes to your GPA, every point counts. And if you don't find your focus, you may not be able to get into the school that you're trying to get into, not because you're not smart enough, but because you couldn't kick this habit of procrastination. So if you have schoolwork to get done and TikTok put this on your screen, consider it a message from me to you. Part 2 of tips will be up soon.
Imagine it's the day before your unit test. You're studying, cramming everything into one night, looking through all of your notes, doing practice problems, but all to no avail because when your test grade comes back, it's not what you were expecting. If this is a problem you face, keep watching. These are 5 study habits that you need to adapt in order to get better grades and ace every single exam you take. Number 1 is to talk to anybody who will listen about the entire unit. Literally teach it to someone else. Why does this help? Because you're legitimately walking yourself and the other person through step by step. And when you do this, you're actually understanding it better because your brain's able to comprehend it more if you say it out loud. This works especially well when you're walking through math problems. Number 2 is to try not to study as much as possible, contrary to what you might think. Be an active listener in class instead. This would probably work better with English, history, or a language. All you have to do is listen to your teacher, so that when you go back home, you don't have to study because you paid attention in class. Follow me for part 2.
Hey, it's your college sis, and here are 4 things I wish I knew before starting college. Number 1, your major does not matter. And besides very specific industries that require specific undergrad majors, business, computer science, pre-med, pre-law, pre-grad, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter what your major is as long as you can do the skills and requirements. Number 2, your mental health is the most important thing. And if you're not good up here, nothing else matters and everything else will be impacted. So don't be afraid to ask for help from professors or professionals and really take care of yourself because that is so important. Number 3, making friends in college, you have to put in the effort. Clubs, organizations, these social events, you have to go out. It's going to be awkward at first, but make these connections, follow up with people, hang out with people. Google Calendar will be your best friend. Lastly, your GPA your freshman year is super flexible and malleable, so don't freak out if you totally mess up. You have tons of classes the next 4 years to go into it. Make sure you follow for more for college tips.
I have a hack that every student who has ever written an essay needs to know. Sometimes I finish a paper right before it's due and I don't have time to check it. So I'll upload my paper to this website called Bartleby Write, and it'll scan for plagiarism, help me with any grammar mistakes, and help me make citations. It basically double checks my paper for me. Use this link to try it for free.
Okay, so this video is meant for my people who struggle with homework, time management, that type of stuff. I ended last semester of junior year 5 APs with all A's because of this one hack. And I'm gonna teach it to y'all. Overarchingly and generally, the method is prioritizing. But I did it in a way that worked for my specific classes. What you have to do is do the homework for your hardest classes first, but even more specific than that, do the first 5 to 10 hardest problems on that homework first, and then move on to the rest. And then once you finish that homework thoroughly, check the answer key and everything, then that's when you move on to your second most important homework. This saves you a lot of time. And also you need to remember to take breaks between every homework you do, between each subject. Follow for more.
Study tips you needed to know like yesterday.
I used to spend hours drawing detailed diagrams and making detailed notes. That feels really productive and that's what our teachers always tell us to do, but it is extremely ineffective compared to active recall. Active recall is where instead of taking notes, you just write down questions for yourself to answer later to retrieve that information. I use the app Notion for all of my active recall notes. It's actually better to batch our work in subjects. Teachers always tell us don't finish the assignment on Monday, but it's actually kind of wrong. Studies have shown that when we're constantly switching from different subjects like English to math, it's actually harder for our brain to really get deep into the work.
You ready? Let's go! Yeah! For those of you that want to know what we're all about.
I love you, but you don't, and this is how I cope. I like Coke, but only if you're mixing it with Jack, then it's dope. Put it in my cup, then hand me the smoke. I ain't trying to think about the world, I got too many problems.
Here's a step-by-step guide of how I trick myself into getting shit done when I don't feel like it. If you're anything like me, you have a hard time getting motivated to start tasks or don't know what to do first. So we'll let fate decide by using a strategy I call dice roll. If you don't have a 20-sided die, a 6-sided die will definitely work. If you don't have either, there are a lot of free apps out there. First, write a couple of numbered ranges down and assign tasks to them. The more important the task, the wider the range. I always make sure the last number is a fun activity. Next, roll your dice, write down the number that came up, and then circle the outcome associated with it. And then immediately start on that task. You don't get to argue or roll again. Just do it. And if you roll a 20, the universe clearly wants you to have some guilt-free procrastination time. Let me know if you end up trying this out and follow for part 4, how to do shit you've been putting off forever.
Lord have mercy, I'm about to bust.
So many bitches wanna be my baby. Running around. I was taking off.